I don't know how long this video is going to be, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about it in the morning. I'll probably just delete all of this because it's really just me rambling in a room by myself. But I'm thinking a lot about the TikTok ban and booktok, mainly at the general reactions to people being concerned and being worried, being frustrated, and being upset about the impending TikTok ban and the impending loss of booktok from people on other platforms. It's not most people, but there is quite a bit of celebrating happening on other platforms, mainly on Bookstagram. And also some glimpses from Book Twitter, but this is to be expected from both of those platforms. I don't know if people are rejoicing on BookTube, but I'm sure there are quite a few given the amount of anti-booktok content there is circulating on this platform. But mainly in between and also during a lot of the clashing happening on Bookstagram and Bookthreads between booktokers and bookstagrammers, there are quite a few questions about why so many booktokers are hesitant or dreading moving to a different platform altogether, because so many booktokers like myself are like, oh, I don't want to go to anywhere else. So many booktokers have made videos talking about how if they lose TikTok, they're just not going to be a content creator anymore. I made a video saying that might happen to me, that I might just quit content creation altogether. And there have been quite a few questions about why that is, why nobody wants to move anywhere else, especially from so many people who think booktok is literally just like the scum of the earth collective. And here's the thing, every single social media platform, every single bookish space is going to have its pros and cons list. The reason why so many people are hesitant or dreading or just completely like averse to the idea of moving over to Instagram or bookthreads is, number one, that it's meta and people don't like Mark Zuckerberg. But even outside of the intense dislike for the person who is running the show, the Instagram algorithm is ass. Like, literally, people have been screaming from the rooftops to just bring back chronological order posts. Just that one thing, that you can make whatever changes you want, to keep making whatever terrible changes you want, just to bring back chronological order. And Mark Zuckerberg is just like, huh? Take away highlights? What? Okay. And everyone just has to sit around like. But also, so many people are averse to moving over to Bookstagram because it's so pretty. It's so curated. Everybody's accounts have this like really cohesive theme. They have their own aesthetic, because that is a relevant aspect to having an Instagram, to having a Bookstagram, is having an aesthetic and sticking to it. Having an aesthetic that is appealing to the masses or appealing to your specific desired demographic. It's not all there is, but it is highly relevant. It's a photo platform. There's a really basic level of expectation for a refined approach to content creation on Bookstagram. And Bookthreads is my worst nightmare. I actually think that Bookthreads needs to be studied. Bookthreads is a mess because it's Instagram, but Instagram's version of Book Twitter. It's such a chaotic and painful combination of different types of people, because you have that like toxic positivity side of Bookstagram that hates booktok because they're tired of like discourse, and it's easier to remove yourself from discourse on the Bookstagram space. So you have so many of those people who are like, let's only say positive things only ever. But then you have the rest of people from that Instagram space. Like, there's a reason why it's so common to see in comment sections underneath like super viral videos that are viral, because the person in the video is like embarrassing to some degree to certain people. Why is such a common comment for people to say like, oh my god, post this to Reels, please post this to Reels? It's just intense over there. Which isn't to say that like a TikTok comment section is peachy keen, but for better or for worse, the TikTok comment section, the TikTok whatever the hell, is very sensitive and will censor the fuck out of videos and comments. Very sensitive. It's very strict. That's why we got stuff like unaliving, rape to be replacement term, because it's strict, but it's also inconsistent about how strict it is. That's a whole other thing. So it's those people inhabiting the book thread space as well, alongside this really weird collective avoidance of screenshots. Everybody loves to give a hot take, loves to give their opinion, but nobody likes to write a screenshot. Nobody loves to tag people. No one likes to say who the problem is directly. It's always a subtweet, and it's very annoying, which Book Twitter has a really similar issue to as well. Do I still log in every single day of my life? Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I am part of the problem. I will chime in whenever I hate something. I didn't say I was above it all. In fact, I think me contributing and not being helpful actually makes me the expert, the perfect person to tell you about it. But then also, a lot of booktokers don't really feel like going over to BookTube because it is a video platform, but it's a longer form video platform that also has an air of curation to it, a basic standard of effort, a slower timeline when it comes to building up your community. But also, one of the biggest flaws to BookTube is one of the biggest flaws of YouTube in general. There's this terrible plague of content creators, of YouTubers and booktubers, of course, coming on here and making these super long videos where they speak super slowly. They're dragging every single word through molasses and they're over explaining themselves. They're being really, really repetitive about their language. They have this total aversion to being concise about anything. And there's a difference between like regular rambling and the issue that's going on across YouTube in general, in that people trying to make as long of a video as possible to rack in more AdSense, building up watch hours. It's cheap and it's obvious, and it's also just like not super compatible to the types of people who gravitate towards TikTok, which is people with a shorter attention span, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I do think people need to build up their attention spans, most definitely. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with short form content, with easy, quick to consume content. I'm not going to speak on what happens in bookish Facebook groups because I don't have Facebook. I'm not on there. But with BookTok, there's this really kind of lovely attribute to the app in general that I think a lot of people overlook, and that is the haphazard, impulsive nature of the app, which absolutely has its downfalls. It's almost too impulsive at times, but I'm not gonna lie, it's so nice being able to literally be laying down in bed after having immediately just woken up and being able to record a video of myself still like unmoved from my original sleeping position and talk about anything that I want and have it reach my audience and be widespread pretty quickly. Very helpful, very convenient when you have a full-time job. You can really only get around to making content after work or on the weekends. And the algorithm is really strong. It takes like a couple weeks to fix. But once it is fixed, it's really great. It's really strong. It's really specific to you. It knows you. But then because it takes like a couple weeks to fix, that's why so many creators from here who are like, I tried to go on BookTok and I tried to see what was going on and I tried to fix my algorithm and it didn't work. And they were only there for 2 days. That's why that's why it doesn't really work out for them. And of course, curating your algorithm does go beyond simply liking and searching things out. You have to block accounts. You have to hit not interested. You have to be actively engaged in comment sections. The ban goes through and I can't be on BookTok anymore. It is going to be a relief on some level. The types of people that flood TikTok and treat TikTok as a search engine is genuinely very terrifying. I'm also not going to miss the type of commenter that I've only ever seen exist in a BookTok space, and that's the type of person who will see a video where the book title is mentioned in the video and or it's on the screen in the video and or it's in the caption of that video and or it's in the hashtags of that video, and they still go into your comment section and will be like, title, that person who went under a recipe video for bean soup and asked, what if I don't like beans? That's from TikTok. That is a TikTok commenter. And for better or for worse, it is really easy to go viral and get really widespread reach. I deeply resent this sentiment that like the entire platform, the entire BookTok platform and the entire TikTok app is just like this irredeemable hellhole. I know I call it that, but I don't mean it. Not 100%, not for all of it. I have made so many friends for life on that platform. I've gotten hundreds of amazing book recommendations out of that platform. That platform genuinely, like, BookTok saved my brain, believe it or not, in 2020 and 2021 in the pandemic, because I was at the time a college student. I was an RA in college, which means that I didn't have any roommates in my dorm. So I was by myself doing virtual school, not interacting with another human being ever, not in person. And it was becoming more and more common to go an entire 24 to 48 hour period of not hearing my own voice. I wasn't speaking out loud to anybody. And me and all of my friends were busy and no one wanted to leave the dorm to go to the school art studios. Everyone was so isolated and I didn't have anyone that I lived with to talk to anymore. So I talked to my phone and I talked to the people in my phone. BookTok gave me a way to be social again in a way that I wasn't able to access in my everyday life. And then I found so many friends and I found so much community and I found so many people who understood me. And it also helped me make extra income on the side of my job. Being able to make some money off of talking about literally anything you want, that's nice. That's really, really nice. And that is a lot easier to achieve on TikTok as opposed to these other platforms. And I know, trust me, I know, not all of the viral BookTok sensation books are good. But I think anyone saying good riddance because they can't see any source of value in BookTok or TikTok as a whole, I think it's so disingenuous and weird. Like, I'm starting to find my way on BookTube. I'm starting to find some really cool people, and I'm falling back in love with YouTube, which is really great. I haven't loved coming onto YouTube to watch videos since I was 14 or 15. Yeah, so like a decade. And it feels good to be back, and it feels good to make videos that I really enjoy. But the vibe is so different, and I am gonna be so sad if I have to say goodbye to BookTok, which I think is going to happen. And I'm over it. I'm over people trying to treat that like it's a stupid thing.